Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop-a-Deep-a-Doo-Bop-Bop. Surrounded by brilliance.
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Surrounded by Brilliance podcast. I'm your host, Josh Will, all things awesome. If you listen to the podcast, if you don't listen to the podcast, you watch the podcast, don't watch the podcast, I'm going to fill you in on what you're missing or what you continue to watch. So the Surrounded by Brilliance podcast was created to bring together like-minded people who don't get offended by much and who are annoyed by most things. It's a podcast where humor, levity, and a smidge of serious discussion will give you a glimpse into the inner workings of my brain, a self-proclaimed get-off-my-lawn guy. You'll hear funny stories, interesting opinions, a whole lot of grumpiness, and a lot more from some really interesting people and maybe some not-so-interesting people. And with that, my guest today is Jeff Kalmbach. Jeff is a husband and a father of two. He's a financial institution examiner for the state of Michigan and has worked in banking and finance his entire career. He's into fitness taco into his mouth, hunting, boating, campfires, and spending time outside in the woods whenever possible. Jeff's into fitness. I just said the taco thing, everyone. So get over it if you didn't like it. Jeff's laughing. Jeff also golfs, skis, and has been known to read a book every now and then and again. But his biggest passion is music. Jeff is an avid musician, having played guitar and bass for nearly 30 years. He considers himself a music aficionado and plays in his church's praise band and also dabbles in playing with local friends and musicians from time to time. That's our intro. That's Jeff Kalmbach. And there he is. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Josh. I'm good, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I've, just got done working, flipped over to this computer, and here we are. So,
there you go. One job to the next, huh?
So what's I know we talked about some stuff off air, but you don't have to share all that same stuff. But what's new with you and the fam? What's fun and exciting that's going on in your life right now?
Oh boy. Moved my daughter Lily into to Michigan State back at the end of August. So that was interesting. Had a few other things going on at that time that we chatted about. But so down to almost empty nesters, I guess. My son has also gotten some acceptance letters to the places he wants to go. So now it's kind of time to get him ready to launch.
Okay.
So we're getting that figured out. But no, it's been okay. It's just, a little different dynamic with one gone, but still okay. So that's really about it. So nothing too crazy.
Well, I think, the older we get, the probably less exciting our lives get, right? So I think that's probably par for the course, maybe.
Yeah, that is very true. I find myself just sitting around and reading more and doing less and little yard work when it needs it. But I definitely feel like I'm over the hill,
Oh, you're not over the hill, man. You're not even to the peak of the mountain. You got so much time and to climb left. So, for those of you listening or watching, this is not Jeff. This is Jeff's second appearance on this podcast. So, welcome back. And I always ask guests, how do we know each other? And I'm not going to put Jeff through that again. So I'm going to summarize it. Jeff and I met each other working in, as he said, he's in the finance side, banking. But we found ourselves working in banking together, and it turned into a friendship. At times, it was friendship in camaraderie against a tyrant of a manager that we had, who eventually got what they had coming to them. So that's a little bit of that's a redemption story for another time, or probably not ever, because we don't need to talk about it. Jeff knows what I'm talking about, and I thought it'd be funny.
We can save that for season 3.
Yeah. So we became friends then. We kind of still work in the same industry, but at different organizations. So we've been friends for almost 10 years, I think. Maybe 10 years, 9, 10 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how we know each other. I also typically like to ask my guests, why did you agree on this, be on this podcast? And I think I'll ask Jeff that again. Why did you agree to be on this podcast, Jeff?
Well, I know we had talked about it a while back, and had some things happening that I wasn't able to make it for a bit. But I wanted to reach out to you after things kind of settled down and just just say, hey, I'm available again. So I don't know. I always just have a great time talking with you, and off the air, we have a great friendship and camaraderie, and I always like to just come in here and shoot the shit with you for a little bit. So
Chop it up. Well,
chop it up.
I will tell you, Jeff did not. Jeff's going to be very surprised by this next statement that I'm going to make. Obviously, we're going to talk about some get off my lawn stuff and some grumpy stuff, but we're a little more looser here in season 2. And you had a desire the last time we talked. You're like, man, are you ever going to do like a conspiracy theory themed podcast or just whatever? And I'm like, do you want to? And he's like, hell, let's do it. Now, this whole podcast isn't going to be that, but I thought maybe we could, pick Jeff's brain a little bit if he had a willingness to talk about some of this crazy stuff that goes on in this world. And whether it's conspiracy theory or just fun conversation, I thought maybe I'd bring it up later on. So I'll give Jeff some time to maybe start to think about that.
Yeah.
And Jeff very well may not want to talk about those things.
Yeah, that's it. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that, and that's okay. Let me see if there's something that I can bring up that won't paint me as with the crazy brush. We'll chew on that for a little bit. So
I've got other topics and questions to discuss, and so if not, I mean, look, I've got a friend who actually he refuses to be on this podcast because he just doesn't think he has a lot to say. But trust me, you talk to him, he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot of theories. And I can assure you, you will never, ever, ever, ever be at his level. But he's a very successful guy, a good guy. But he has a strong willingness. He never shies away from the rabbit hole. He lubes himself up and he dives down that hole. I mean, he's down.
God.
He's in it. He's in it. But
I was about to say I want to meet this guy. Now I'm not so sure I do.
Oh no, you do. He's a good guy. He's very quiet, but then you bring up a subject that he might have some information on, and he's not like, oh yeah, this is true and this is true, this is true. But he's like, hey, something to think about, right? So that's how he is. He doesn't. I'm not going to name him now, but and you don't know him, but he's. I'm like, where did you hear this? He's like, oh, check this out. So it's
interesting. Maybe I do want to meet him still.
You do. You do. You want to meet him.
That would be interesting.
If we ever go bird hunting in Ohio, I think you might meet him. He's an Ohio. He's a Dolphus boy. Ohio. Dolphus. He's not there anymore, but anyways, let's knock out this get off my lawn, right? Because the premise of this podcast was built on a get off my lawn segment, right? Jeff, when you hear so I don't want your scenario yet. I just want you to summarize what the phrase "get off my lawn" means to you.
Get off my lawn. I gave a different answer. I'm going to try not to replicate my answer from the other episode I was on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's different. More like, right. I'm going to say it means to me like, go away, leave me alone. I don't have time for this nonsense. I don't want to deal with you. Yeah. Just leave me the hell alone. It's kind of what it means like to me because, I think I've listened to enough of your podcasts here and heard enough answers. And, I don't think anybody has time for, the older we get, I don't have time for stuff like that. So yeah.
I like it.
Basically just means leave me alone. And I don't want to be bothered with you because I'm old and grumpy.
I like it. You're embracing it. And here's the thing, if you're listening or watching, Jeff's an outgoing guy. He's a funny guy. But he also knows how, obviously, and when to embrace being grumpy, which means you can too, which means this is a podcast about reality and the emotions that we all feel. So if you listen to this occasionally and you think, boy, this is all about grumpiness, it's not. The people that I have on here, Jeff included, are normally funny, outgoing, positive people, but like all of us, they get annoyed by stupid shit. The real issue is if you don't get annoyed by stupid shit, I think that we should be more concerned about you. So I just flipped the script on you people who think we're negative. But all right, Jeff, what is your get off my lawn scenario this week? Right, one of those moments where you just turn your head and you're like, what are you doing? Like, what is that person doing? Like, why? Who is that ignorant? Or whatever the thought is for you. But I always do
Sure.
to turn the head because that's the logo up there in the corner, right?
Right, right. Yeah, so I guess I'll before I start, I'm going to say, I've definitely been guilty of this before. And I'm, you know, contrary to what you might think, I'm not perfect. But this is something I've become more and more conscious of in the last couple of years, I would say. And one thing that really, really bothers me about my fellow human beings is when you meet people who will say, like, hey, let's go grab lunch sometime. Let's go grab a beer sometime. Let's go. I've got a couple of other very specific examples, but I'm not sure I want to say them because they might point out some people who could potentially listen to this.
They might listen.
And, and I value my friendships. So, people who are just kind of, and I'll acknowledge, I think this is a very, very petty character trait of mine.
I love
But it
this
really
a lot.
irritates me when people are be like, hey, like you run into so and so at whatever event. You're like, hey, yeah, let's haven't hung out in a while. We should grab lunch. Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I've got an example. I've got two attorneys that I used to do some business with back in one of my previous institutions that I worked for. And we used to go out all the time, and we go out and have beers or lunch or dinner or whatever and stuff like that. And we hung out all the time. And so I texted them probably about 3, 4, 5 months ago and just put on the text thread. And I'm like, hey guys, it's been a while. You guys want to go out and grab some beers, just kind of catch up. And they're like, yeah, sure. That sounds good. And, one was texting with the other one. And, the way the whole conversation just kind of went, and this is all through text, right, is, all right, I'm waiting to hear back from them. And then one of them finally responds and says, hey, yeah, we should find a time to go and have beers. And I'm like, well, no. That's why I'm texting you. Like, did you not read the text? So the people who like that, who just kind of kick the can down the road, and maybe it's me. I don't know. I mean, I thought I was likable and approachable. Maybe it is just me. And they're just like, hey, we're just going to appease this guy, get out of this conversation with no intent of ever having lunch or drinks or seeing this guy again or whatever. But coming from my perspective, when I do that, and I'll give you another good example here in just a second, but when I do that, I typically will make a mental note or sometimes even a physical note, and I'll follow through with it. And I'll be like, hey, so-and-so invited me out for a drink. I couldn't make it, but I'm going to make sure I text them back, next week. I put it on my calendar, and I'm going to make sure I make it happen because I want to make it happen. And this, same thing for whether it's dinner, drinks, whatever. But my neighbor, to my next point, I guess my neighbor was walking by. My wife had let me know that one of my neighbors golfed, and I've hung out with him once before, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he golfed. And so he's walking by with his kid several months back during golf season, and I said, hey, I didn't know you golfed. My wife told me you golfed. How'd you like to sub in my league sometime? He's like, yeah, that sounds really good. He's like, I'd like to do that. And so, as luck would have it, there was an opening. What do you think I did? I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, I followed through with it. I meant what I said, right? And I invited him to play. He couldn't play, and that's a whole nother story, but that's not a big deal. Yeah. But, I followed through with it. And I guess maybe that's the better get off my lawn thing is just follow through. The people who don't follow through with things they say they're going to do, or, just some of those kind of, what do you call it? Lip service where they just say something, but they don't mean it kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it irritates me, but it's also helped me kind of like weed people out of my circle. So before you ask me what the positive side of this is,
yeah,
I'm already going to tell you, it's, I've kind of learned to weed people out of my circle, or people who just, you kind of see through them and that they're not really valuable to your time or to your relationships or what have you. And I get that everybody's busy, so this probably does sound like me just being a grumpy old person, but but you can tell the people that genuinely want to spend time with you and the people who are just kind of like, oh, cool, I'm just saying this because we're at this networking event and I haven't seen you in a while. So,
Well, here's what I would say to that. One, you know the structure here, so you went straight into the positive. I don't have to ask you. So fantastic on you. But I wouldn't even say that you were being grumpy. I would just say that I think a lot of people feel that way. I don't think that what you just said is a grumpy person. I think what you understand at this point in life, like what you value in a friendship, and I don't want to put these words in your mouth, but you're kind of the mindset, if someone's not helping me grow or be a better person or enhancing my life with their friendship, and they're being flaky or not backing up their words, like I don't want that person in my life because I don't have to your get off my lawn, what it means to you earlier, you don't have time for this shit, right? So
yeah,
it's
exactly right. I think that's a really good way of saying it, and and it's just something. I don't know if it comes with age, maturity, or whatever you want to call it, but I've just kind of I don't have time for that kind of stuff anymore. In my 30s, yeah, no problem, whatever. Because I was doing a lot more socializing back then, especially with networking with my job and things like that. So I was constantly just running into people all the time and that. And the older you get, you not to beat this horse to death, but the older you get, you're right. You don't have time for it, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna make time for the relationships that matter.
yeah.
So, mhm.
And if you're listening at home, this isn't me feeling like Jeff is talking about me because I know he's not. Jeff and I try to find time to do stuff regularly. We always end up being busy. That's why it also took longer to do this podcast, and life happens. So that's really me
Right.
trying to make myself feel better, and the listeners know that you're not talking about me. So
No, I'm not. I'm not. I mean, these are a lot of these individuals or people that I'm talking about are just kind of ancillary friends, or acquaintances is probably a better word, who, you had some sort of relationship with them before, and, things change over time and people don't want to necessarily hang out and people are busy. And I understand all the reasons why people don't want to get together or can't do these kinds of things. But yeah, it's one of those where you say like, hey, if you told me you want to do this,
yeah,
and I reach out and you don't want to do it, then okay. I mean, I kind of get what you're,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it.
Hmm.
Look, I love the get off my lawn. You can make a strong argument that's not even a get off my lawn statement. That's just a normal person who doesn't consider themselves a get off my lawn. So we're falling into a whole new category here. So, but I love it. The positive is probably the most powerful point of that is, you don't have time for it, and you understand who you want to spend time with, who you want to exert energy with, and you don't ain't nobody got time for that or something like that, right?
Right, right.
But no, great example. So my get off my lawn is the sports fan who all they want to do is be negative. They're simply here to be negative. And then when positive things happen, crickets. So let me give you a hypothetical example. Let's say
Is this going to
that
have anything to do with Ohio State football by
no,
chance,
no,
or no?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Let's
All
say
right.
that let's say there's a semi-pro hockey team in your town, and again, this is hypothetical.
Sure.
None of this is based in reality. And you have this. The fan base is, for the most part, really great, right? But normally, the loudest people in any group are the people who want to be negative, right? So you
Mhm.
start to feel like, oh, they're all negative. Everyone's negative. So for the most part, they're all pretty good. But these people, they just nitpick everything. They complain about everything. It's on social media. They just love to be negative about everyone. Get rid of this person. You should have played this person. You didn't do this right, right? they've never done any of this in their life, but they have all the answers. Again, negativity. So they do these things, especially if the team happens to be losing. They lost a couple games, maybe hypothetically, and then people are just all up in arms and complaining about the team, complaining about free giveaways they didn't get, whatever it is. They're just miserable in their own life, obviously. But then you'll see that hypothetical team will get a win, and they'll do some positive things. And those same people, those frequent flyers, and because you can track this hypothetically, not that I've done it, those same people who were so vocal and negative about all these things and saying, we should do this. If we want to win, we should do this. We should do that. The minute something positive happens, crickets. They don't like posts on Facebook or other social media. They don't comment on them. They have nothing to say. So it's that fan. Like, I would have a little bit more respect for them if they were equally balanced and like, hey, you know what? Great job, or we did this, or we did that. But they don't. They're just negative and miserable and annoying as you know what. And that's my get off my lawn. So the positive in this is that when you think about that person or persons who are so negative, and you take a step back and you have to realize they're just unhappy overall with something in their life. And the positive would be, I hope that something along the way, this is me going to be real positive, this is not really normally me, would be that somewhere along the way, hopefully they have a moment where they're like, you know what, something happens in their life and they realize, does it make any sense to complain and bitch about something I have no control over at all? And maybe they'll get a new, have a different view on life, and somehow that'll spread and make them be more positive. So I know that's, again, all very hypothetical because I'm, a semi-pro hockey team. Where would there be a semi-pro hockey team that I would personally have connectivity to? But so that's my get off my lawn.
Yeah, well, and to your point there, I've got a lot of thoughts. I'm going to try to organize them in my head real quick and get them out to you. But I mean, this is not going to be a surprise to you or to anybody else who's listening or watching. But look at the comments in social media for anything, whether it's a hypothetical semi-pro hockey team or somebody trying to sell something on Marketplace. I mean, it's just.
Yep.
I mean, I've actually spent less time on social media in the last couple of months.
That's good.
For that very reason, because there are times where it is a little entertaining, right? Yeah. And there are times where I see a post and I'm like, I got to go into the comments because I got to see how far down the comment list is the first person who's going to bitch about something or be the negative guy, and it's always the first freaking comment.
Yeah.
And again, so I'm not saying anything that nobody else doesn't already know about social media, but I mean it's remarkable how that's where people flock to just to get that negative energy out. And I mean I guess to the counterpoint to that, not that we plan to talk about this, but I mean that's when COVID was happening. I mean I was doing some videos, right? Everybody's locked down, right? And everybody's miserable, everybody's afraid, nobody knows what the hell's going on, kids are freaking, I mean the whole thing, right? And so I was like, well, I'm gonna try to put something positive out there, and that's I recorded doing some guitar songs and stuff, and one of my buddies he created a Facebook page for gardening, cooking, just like a place to kind of share recipes. And I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool, why'd you do this? And he's like, I honestly just wanted to put something positive out there. He's like, and that was kind of the reason for me doing it too. But he's like, I got tired of all the negative stuff. He's like, and again, it's never going to go away. The only way to make it go away is to just really remove yourself from it. And, again, I know this wasn't the point of us talking about, but I mean, you're never going to find anything really positive in social media. So anyway.
Well, the saying to live by is if you see something on social media that people are complaining, and clearly they're wrong. They don't have their facts straight. They're making up stuff. Before you want to comment, because I have to do this sometimes, you have to tell yourself you can't reason with unreasonable people. So you're not going to change their mind. All you're going to do is give them more fuel to complain about, and you can have all the facts and all the ducks in a row, and it doesn't matter to them because they're unreasonable. Which then they also can make the argument, well, we're just passionate fans. We're passionate fans. Well, guess what? Passionate fans should probably also make positive comments when the team's doing well. I'm a Bengals fan. After yesterday's loss to the Jets, but look, and I played football in college. I'm a Buckeye fan. I'm a Reds fan. So there's two franchises there that are not very successful. But I know that even though I've played those sports, I still know that the people at that level, even as bad as they are at times, they still know way more than I do. So me calling up the coach, Zach Taylor, coach of the Bengals, and saying, hey, Zach, that cover 2 that you ran in the third quarter, big mistake, shouldn't have done it. You know what? If I somehow got a hold of him, he's probably going to be like, yeah, Josh, you know what? You're right. You're right. I mean, let's just be reasonable here. But to your point, more positive, even though this is a podcast that doesn't always focus on positive, we are right now. So,
well, and don't forget this. Don't forget this. This is a motto that I live by. It says, life is short. Be sure to spend as much time as you can arguing with strangers on the internet.
I think that's a direct quote from Abraham Lincoln, isn't it? Because if it was on the internet, it must be true. No.
I think you're right. Yeah. So, but I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, we, nothing really good comes out of social media, really. So.
No. Nope. Well, that's.
And I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that you guys lost to the Jets. That's a.
Yeah. Oh,
that's a
yeah.
tough,
No,
that's a tough one, buddy.
Look, for probably about a year now, I've been on the train of I just wish the Brown family would sell the team to someone who is committed to the team. Like, they say they're committed, but they're tightwads, and the way they run that organization, I want someone who's like, hey, we want to win, we want to be successful, we'll take some chances here, we're not going to be cheap here. Honestly, even if it meant moving the franchise to another city, I wouldn't be completely opposed to that. I mean,
okay.
that's a bold statement. It's a bold statement, but
yes, it is.
So that's.
But it happens. You never know. Maybe you start getting on social media and start barking loud enough, they might listen to you. So
probably I should send an email directly to them. Forget social media. I'm sure they'll read
I think
it.
that's the better way to go. I think email is a little bit more personal touch.
Maybe I should just show up in person. I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah, dressed up like Mr. 4th of July behind you,
Maybe. So that was our get off my lawn segment, which is always fun.
That'll get their attention.
It will. My nose is running, dear Lord. So, like I said, we're going to be a little more loose here, Jeff. I've got some questions for you. Hopefully they're not repeats from when you were on last. If they are, you can stop me. Did I ask you about a fun fact about yourself last time?
No.
Perfect. Jeff, what's a fun fact about you that most people don't know?
And boy.
You've already talked about your musical expertise and aficionado-ness, so it's got to be something different.
Something fun? Oh, man. I don't know. I'm a big movie guy. I don't know if that was in my bio.
It was not in your bio.
No?
Is that really a fun fact? What's the fun fact about that? You watch movies?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I read Stephen King books almost exclusively. I've read most Stephen King books that are out there. I've never seen the movie Titanic.
That is a fun fact.
I don't know. I mean, not super fun, but it's something. So
it's an interesting fact nonetheless.
It is, yeah, I suppose. In some circles, it might be. No, I mean, I don't know. I wish there was more fun and intriguing about me that I could share, but well,
that's okay. That's okay.
All right.
Look, this next question, this always interests me. Well, So before I do every podcast, I have this ritual where I always go brush my teeth. I go and brush my teeth. It doesn't matter. I mean, for whatever reason, I go brush my teeth. You know, I'm up there doing it one time a couple weeks ago, and Tony's like, don't you have a podcast that you're recording? I'm like, yeah. She goes, why are you brushing your teeth? I'm like, it's just my thing. I do it. All right, just... So as I'm brushing my teeth for this podcast, I also started to remember that sometimes Tony gives me shit about brushing my teeth because I brush them. Like, I take a while. I mean, I'm spending a lot of time brushing. And so my question to you is, what's a reasonable amount of time to brush your teeth? Like, how long do you brush your teeth?
I'm laughing because I'm with you. I brush my teeth pretty frequently during the day, and honestly, I brushed my teeth before I came on the podcast. I think it. I've got my own reasons why I think I do these kinds of things. But what's a reasonable amount of time? I would say, I always do the bottom first.
Yeah.
I usually spend about a minute on the bottom and a minute on the top.
Okay.
So
Hold that thought.
Right.
We're interrupted. All right, go ahead.
Right out, right?
I'm not going to edit that out. That was funny.
Okay, that's fair. I would say about 2 minutes. Yeah, like people give me crap sometimes. Like I'm up north camping one time, and wake up and get like a guy's weekend up north, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I don't know if I was just not paying attention. I'm just brushing, and my buddy's he kind of puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, dude, you're gonna brush all your freaking enamel off. I'm like, well, how long do you brush your teeth for? I'm like, I gotta brush them until they feel like nice and smooth and clean and polished. I like that feeling. So I think everybody does.
I like it.
I'm gonna say 2 minutes. Minute for the top, minute for the bottom.
And guess what? You probably do it a little more than 2 minutes, I bet.
Probably so. Now let me ask you this: do you use an electric toothbrush?
No, I don't. That's the argument Tony always makes. I'm like, maybe you're not brushing your teeth long enough. She's like, no, I use an electric toothbrush. I'm like, nope, I'm old school. I'm gonna grind the shit out of those gums.
You wanna saw that gum line down, huh?
Oh, I can't wait till Tony listens to that one. Jeff, I asked you about I your looks and sense of humor last time, so I'm not going to ask you that one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you 46? Is that how old you are?
Yes. Yeah,
right.
46.
What's one thing 46-year-old Jeff would, I think I may have asked you this too. What's one thing 46-year-old Jeff would tell his 23-year-old self?
You did ask me this one.
Okay. Well, has it changed? Have you?
No.
Do you have any?
No.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if I asked that one. So, all right, that's fine. I got some more good questions. So we know that you are a examiner with the state of Michigan. If I was a gambling man, I would say that you back home in Frankenmuth or wherever you were at up in here growing up, you probably weren't a 6-year-old kid thinking, man, when I grow up, I want to be a state examiner for the state of Michigan. I want to be an auditor for them, right? So,
right.
So knowing that, assuming I'm right, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was a kid, gosh, probably. I think at one point I wanted to be a police officer, work for the FBI, or do something cool. That was like the time when like the X-Files show was on, and Mulder and Scully, the FBI agents, right, chasing the aliens down or whatever the hell was that show was about.
Okay.
Like the FBI looked very intriguing to me. As I got older, like into high school and college and stuff, that kind of faded away because I was on a different path at that point. But like your kid job, like, hey, what's going to be fun? I'm going to work for the FBI. I'm going to carry a gun, wear my sunglasses, and get the bad guys.
I like it. I like it. Now,
I don't know.
I mean, you did bring up X-Files vis-a-vis aliens. Is this a good transition into any good conspiracy theories you wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about, or should I move on to some different questions?
Move on to some different ones. I'll see if I can come back to something there that's going to be worth talking about on your podcast
It
here.
was a natural transition, so I thought I'd
Yeah,
ask.
absolutely. Yeah,
So,
for sure, for sure.
all right, Jeffrey. So, if you woke up tomorrow with $30 million in your bank account, walk me through what your day would look like.
You say 30 or 3?
30, 30.
$30 million
You wake
in
up
the
tomorrow
bank.
morning, you got $30 million in your bank account. What's your day look like? What are you going to do? How are you going to spend the day? What's that look like?
Well, I'm going to say at least half of it's going into investments. That's.
Okay. This is what you're spending your day on?
Oh, never
Like,
mind.
what's your
No, what am I
day?
spending my?
You wake up, you find out you got $30 million.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about where you'd invest or how you
What am
do
I
it. Like,
doing
what's
with
your
it?
day
Okay.
look like?
Oh man, probably flying to someplace warm. Maybe flying to Mexico. Maybe taking a cruise. Maybe an Alaskan cruise or something like that. Maybe some travel. Let's say some travel. Sounds good.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Well,
I
my
would do that.
I, so I assume that you probably have work tomorrow, right? So
I do.
are you are you calling into work then, since you're going to travel somewhere? I mean, that's like. So
Yeah.
are you taking the day off? Are you just quitting on the spot? Are you what's that look like?
I would probably take some time off, and followed by shortly after that probably a 2 week notice that hey, it's been fun and I respect everybody there and you guys have been great. Yeah. So in the event that I don't have 30 million in my bank account, and in case anybody from work's listening, I want that to be said. So, but yeah, yeah, some travel. Travel would be fun. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Grab
Okay.
some buddies and head out west, or who knows, take a fly fishing trip somewhere in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at this just for the day, this is what Jeff's day looks like. He wakes up, finds out he's got $30 million in his account. Let's the people at work know that he's going to take a little time off, and then you immediately jump on the computer to start scheduling a trip. You're not you're not talking to your kids. You're not talking to your wife. You're not calling your investment advisor. Yeah, you're calling. See, I asked this because I always want to see. I just started asking this recently because I asked Tony, and if you would have watched her podcast last week, she had an interesting answer. But I always want to, just the mindset is interesting to me. So, so
Yeah, I definitely think travel. I think I'm going to Alaska.
same day, same day you're going to Alaska.
Well, yeah, I'm obviously hiring a private jet. I'm taking a private jet there, right? So I
Well,
can
those are
do that.
pretty
And
expensive. You
I've
should.
got that kind of money. So
Okay, okay. I think I made the argument. I don't know if 30 million is private. I mean, I guess if you're doing it one time, but I mean
yeah, I'm
that
not
might.
buying it. I'm not buying the jet.
I know, but that could turn into like $1 million flight.
Well, that's all right. I still have $29 million left.
I like it. He's like, that's all
28,
right.
28 and change after the trip, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, I like it. All right. Well, this
I
is
could I
this,
could give you the Office Space answer. I'll tell you what I do with $1 million. I won't finish that
oh,
on your podcast here. So
no, probably not.
nope.
Jeff, what's a favorite vacation you have ever taken? What was it, or what's that look like? Where was it? What did you do?
Favorite. Let me think. Favorite vacation, probably Mexico several years ago, right around the beginning of COVID, I think it was. We went with another family down to Cancun, I think it was, somewhere in Mexico. But that was fun. The kids were a bit younger, obviously. I don't remember which grades they were in specifically, but went with another family that we're very close friends with. Kids had a great time. We had a great time, all inclusive kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, it wasn't anything fancy. I mean, I'm a pretty simple person, as you could tell from my last answer about what I would do with, $30 million. But, yeah, I mean, that was fun. We had a good time down there. We got to swim with dolphins, just do all sorts of cool stuff. And of course, just having the kids around, they were fun. They're kids and we're hanging out with our kids and they've grown up together. So it's just a really good all around experience, plenty of stuff to do at night and stuff for the kids to do and just watching them kind of interact with one another. And, they were 5 years younger at the time. And so they were more tolerable as well.
Yeah.
Even though they were still teenagers, but yeah, I mean, that was a fun vacation. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather be hot or cold, and why? If you had to pick, there's only one. You can only pick one for the rest of your life. Would you rather be hot or cold, and why?
I would rather be hot, I think. Being cold is super uncomfortable, man. I mean, it's way more uncomfortable. At least if I'm hot, like I can sweat it out. Like my body's like actively trying to cool me down, and that might help a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, but being cold is just miserable. Like you start to turn blue when you get too cold, and it's just very uncomfortable, and it hurts. It hurts to be cold, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
it does.
You need to get a bit. Now, if you would think a little more granularly here,
all right,
you think about this, right? Because now I'm going to give you my take. I would rather be cold, and here's why. It's easier for me to warm up, and we live in a state where we get all 4 seasons. So naturally, sometimes we have 6 months where it's just freezing, right? But you can actually move somewhere south where it's warmer, which then counteracts the coldness and balances it out. I mean, if you're hot, you're just hot all the time. It doesn't matter. It's harder to cool off than it is to warm up, in my opinion.
So are you saying this is something like you're always one or the other? Is that the context of your question?
In this fake made up scenario, yeah.
But like I'm perpetually hot for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like so we'll say the rest of your life you're one step away from just starting to sweat because you're already hot, and then the most minimal amount of activity you just start sweating. You're like that's where you're at.
Well, that sucks, but I still pick hot.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Yep.
I've asked all the questions I really wanted to ask. Wanted to see any conspiracy theory thoughts? Or, okay, it doesn't have to be a conspiracy theory, but interesting, like, even if it's something sci-fi that could, like, just weird, unique stories that goes through the brain of Jeff Kalmbach. Because I can't, what's the word? Oh my gosh. I can't recreate the excitement that I saw from you when, after you did the first podcast, Tony and I ended up coming over to your house for a fire. I think, yeah. And when you were like, man, I could do a whole episode on this, or you're going to do this. Like the excitement in your voice and in your face was like, man, this dude's got a lot to say. So I can't even recreate it. And now you're clamming up on me, and I'm just asking for a little smidge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. So I'll give this. Will kind of actually harken back to the interesting fact.
Okay.
Okay. So this is going to be a little bit more interesting, and I'm going to out myself here as a kind of a nerd or whatever. And a lot of my close friends know this about me, but I am a big fan of I guess you call it cryptozoology, which is, it's things like Bigfoot, it's things like the Loch Ness monster, it's things like aliens. And I have this argument with my wife all the time about, because she knows my thoughts on things, and I listen to all these other different podcasts out there about this subject matter. And, a lot of my friends look at me like I'm crazy, and they're like, so you spend all your time listening to podcasts about things that don't really exist? They're, very skeptical about all of it, which
Sure.
I understand. But, the more I've listened to these podcasts, and, it's easy to say, oh, these people that had these encounters or think they saw this thing or think they saw
Yeah.
that thing. It's easy to say, oh, they're all crazy, or they misidentified something, or they this, that, and the other. And, I'm a little bit more pragmatic than that, where, I tend to think like, hey, all it takes is, there's thousands of let's take Bigfoot, for example, right?
Yeah.
There are thousands and thousands of, documented sightings out there that have
Yeah.
happened over the course of time. And, my thought process is, what's more probable? Are 100% of these people misidentifying something? Are they crazy? Are they out looking for attention? Or is it more probable that if even one of them is correct, there's something bigger out there that we're, the mass population is not aware of? And so that's, that's something that I find fascinating. I find it very intriguing. I don't share that with a lot of people because,
Sure.
there's the ridicule factor, and,
Oh, yeah.
whatever, I'm kind of past all that, I suppose, especially now that this is out there. But no, I mean, that's something, and I guess you kind of wrap that up into the ball of a conspiracy theory too, that, I just happen to believe that there's more things on this planet or in this universe that we're not aware of, and,
Absolutely.
may never be aware of. And I think it's cool to kind of be like, hey, there's more to discover.
Yeah.
There's stuff that we haven't seen. There's things that we haven't found. Um, to sit here and think like, hey, this is a big world, this is a big universe, and we're the only things on it, and we've discovered everything. I mean, that's boring.
Well, and to your point, it's not you're. I love I love how you're pragmatic about it because you're not even. I mean, really, if you think about it, you're not even necessarily saying yes, these things exist. I know they exist. What you're saying is, I mean, and maybe in some cases you are, but really, if you back it up some, all you're saying is, look, there's. You're telling me that there's no possibility that all any of this stuff exists. Like,
Mhm.
be pragmatic about it. And for instance, the ocean. We've explored less than 1% of the ocean, I believe is
Right.
the stat somewhere, right?
Yep.
And the ocean is just, I mean, it's so massive. So if we've only explored less than 1% of it, there's so much out there that we've never seen, probably never will see, at least in our
Mhm.
lifetime. Um, and then, I mean, and look, hey, I'm going to shock you here, Jeff, but there's always the thought that this is all just a simulation. I said it. This
It
is
could be.
we're
We're
pawns
just
and all
alien
of it.
ant farm,
But
right?
yeah, I mean,
We're just a big social experiment that somebody else engineered. So
when you think of how big the universe is, too, like you're right. I mean, it's this. It takes 50 years to get to this planet, and there's all this space in between it. But we're the only ones here. That's it. It's us. I mean, come
yeah,
on. I
yeah,
mean,
that's boring, right? I mean,
well, yeah, it's boring, and it's just like the to completely say nope, 100%. There's no way. Like that's wrong. Like there's even if it's this much, there you need to be willing and say, well, yeah, I guess there could be. So
yeah. And I appreciate you saying that, because I have this conversation with a lot of the people who know me who are skeptics too, and I try to make that point. Like, are you going to tell me that you're so close-minded to everything
yeah,
that's out there that you see on the History Channel, on the Bigfoot shows, or the
yeah,
whatever, the Loch Ness monster shows? You're going to tell me that there's a 0% chance that this could
yeah,
potentially exist?
yeah,
And again, I don't want to I'll get off the soapbox
yeah,
here, but I think that's such a boring way to look at life, is to be
yeah,
like, oh well, that's crazy, that's too wild, and I can't fathom that. There's no way that could be a thing.
yeah,
Okay, I mean,
yeah. And I don't. I'm not. So the words you said about crypto something, whatever it is, I didn't even know what that word is. So I'm not
Cryptozoology. Yep.
cryptozoology. Like I'm not as in tune with those things. I see headlines and I'll read this article and read that. But for me though, it's the not being closed minded. And if Tony's gonna listen to this, she'd be like, Josh, you're closed minded on a bunch of stuff. There are some things I'm closed minded on, but to step back and say, and you just look at the like how enormous the oceans are, and how enormous the universe is, and to definitively say there's not something else out there. That's probably the auditor in me that's saying, yeah, it can't be 100% true. So open your mind to, and that's when it gets fun, because you'd be like, oh, and it sometimes can get scary too, because if you like go down these rabbit holes and you're like, oh, well, what if this happens and this happens? But it's more than, I guess, I don't know if, is it pragmatism? Is that the right word? But
I
anyway.
think so. Yeah. No, but like I've actually, and I know we're getting a little bit off subject here, but some of these things have actually originated in the state of Michigan and near the area that I go camping at. And a couple of my buddies have had, saw something they couldn't quite describe out in the woods, and they came back and they were like, all right, we're not talking about this. And like, it took years later before I actually was able to get it out of them, as as we're having beers and joking around, and like, hey, did you remember that thing that we saw up at the cabin? And oh yeah, I thought we weren't going to talk about it. So I mean, and that's kind of like a little I guess teaser if we ever do another one of these. But I don't know.
I'm trying to think of my friend that I was talking about who's like conspiracy theory. His are more like geopolitical.
Like 9/11, like 9/11's an inside job.
He doesn't say that. He doesn't.
And I
say
didn't either. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying I believe that.
Not kind of, sort of like. So he'll have some of those. He'll talk about some of those things, and actually, I don't know if like Bigfoot and the aliens thing. I don't know. He's not really in. He doesn't go down those paths, but but maybe this is a way to get him to come on here. I'm like, hey, we're gonna do just no holds barred, any topic around, aliens, like political conspiracy theories, JFK, Bigfoot, whatever, and just see, because that could be fun. Because I don't know a ton of stuff about it, so I like to hear other people's viewpoints on it. Even if I later on may say, boy, you had me until you said this, and then I'm like,
those guys are full of shit, huh?
All right. Well, look, Jeff, we are up against it, but this was fun. I enjoyed it, and hopefully, I mean, did you feel like this was looser and less like we got to do this and this and this than the first podcast? Or
oh yeah. Now that I know what to expect as a seasoned veteran guest on your show here, I you know what to expect a little bit more, and yeah. So no, I felt good about it. I appreciate you having me on the show tonight, and yeah.
Well, again, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it, and I'm sure you will all see Jeff on here soon. So thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo-bop-bop-a-deep-a-doop-bop-bop. Surrounded by brilliance.